Yes, this is Greg Smith, and in today's video, we're going to talk about 3 signs as to why you have a poor person's mindset. Now, this can be hard to understand sometimes, and it can be hard to actually take a look inside and truly be honest with ourselves oftentimes. But I'm sharing with you from experience 3 signs that I've learned about myself and that I have changed in understanding when I have a poor person's mindset. And so sign number 1 is that you talk about people more than you talk about ideas. Is that you talk about people more than you talk about ideas. And what I mean by this is when you have a poor person's mindset, typically you have a water cooler talk in your life. You are gossiping, you are complaining, you are talking about other people, you are focused on other people, you're watching celebrities on TV all the time, reading Time Magazine, TMZ, whatever it is, you are focused on other people more than yourself and more than your own ideas. And so oftentimes the reason this happens when somebody has a poor person's mindset, and I've been there myself, is that you don't have a vision for your future. And so what do? Is you talk about the easiest thing there is to talk about, which is what? Other people's problems and other people. And so sign number 1 is that you spend more time talking about people than you do ideas. So I want to encourage you to find other people that you can talk about ideas with and stimulate positive, good conversation with. So stop talking about people, start talking about ideas. That's sign number 1. Sign number 2 is this, is that oftentimes you are caught talking about your past more than your future or more than the present state in which you are. And if you know my good friend Uncle Rico, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you don't know who Uncle Rico is, let's take a second and hear what he has to say.
Back in '82, I used to be able to throw a pigskin a quarter mile.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. Watch this. How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over them mountains? Yeah, if Coach would have put me in 4th quarter, we'd have been state champions, no doubt. No doubt in my mind. You better believe things would have been different. I'd have gone pro. In a heartbeat, I'd be making millions of dollars and living in a big old mansion somewhere. You know, soaking it up in a hot tub with my soulmate.
All right, so Uncle Rico, he's talking about his past. He's talking about what would have been, what could have been, what would have happened. He's living 20 years in the past. The past is the past, but the present is the present. And when you live in the past, you typically have a poor person's mindset, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to confront your present reality. You don't have a vision for what your future will be. And so what do? Is you talk about the past and what could have been, what would have been, what might have been, but the reality is it didn't happen. Or maybe it did happen and that's cool. Maybe you were the state champion in wrestling. Maybe you were the state title for football. That was then. What is now? What are your accomplishments now? What are you doing now with your life? Who are you today versus who you were? Who you were doesn't matter anymore. What matters is who you are today in the present and who you will become. And so sign number 2 is all about focusing more on your past, talking more about your past than you currently do about your present and your future and where you are going. So take time to start thinking about who you are today, where you're going, and stop talking so much about the past. It's cool to talk about that one wrestling match that you had where you did this and then you slammed the guy on his head. That's cool. But don't live in it. Don't let your identity be in it. Let your identity change in who you are today versus who you were yesterday. And that's sign number 2. Stop talking about the past. Start talking about today and the future. Sign number 3. Sign number 3 is this. Sign number 3 is that you focus on increasing your paycheck more than you focus on increasing your net worth. You know, when I had a massive mindset shift is in changing from having a broke mindset to a wealthy person's mindset, I actually got the grasp that even though I didn't really know what net worth was, I had a net worth. Now, it was a negative net worth, and I really didn't want to think about it or understand it. But once I did, I started focusing on increasing my net worth more than my paycheck. See, a poor person's mindset, a sign that you have a poor person's mindset, is what you think about is, how do I get a pay raise? How do I increase my paycheck? How do I make more money today? That needs to happen, but the end goal needs to be increasing your net worth. Your net worth is what makes you wealthy in terms of financially. We're not talking about relationships and health and all of that. What we're talking about here is financially, your net worth is what will make you wealthy in your cash flow. So if all we focus on is how much can we increase our paycheck, and we're not keeping track. See right here, this net worth word, this is the scorecard, my friends. This is the scorecard to understand if you are building wealth or if you're decreasing in your wealth. And so this is typically the circle of life, is most people, this is a sign that you have a broke person's mindset. Most people focus on increasing their paycheck so they can buy more liabilities. If you're thinking about how can I increase my paycheck so I can buy a bigger house? How can I increase my paycheck so I can buy the cooler car? If that's the way of thinking, what happens is ultimately we decrease our net worth because we're taking money and we're buying something that loses value or takes more money away from you every month. Oftentimes this cycle looks like this. You get a pay raise for $200 extra per month, and then all of a sudden you buy another car that's $150 more per month, and now really you're only net positive an extra $50 a month. That's a vicious cycle. And what will ultimately happen is then you come back here, you decrease your net worth, and you end up wanting to what? Increase your paycheck again so you can pay for more things. If you're always thinking about how can I increase my paycheck so I can pay for more things, you will always be decreasing your net worth. So another way to look at it, if you don't want to be broke and you want to start accumulating wealth and you want to understand why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, here's why. This is illustration of this exact cycle. So I showed you poor get poorer. This is why. They increase paycheck, they buy liabilities, they decrease net worth, increase paycheck, buy more liabilities, decrease net worth. The rich get richer because they increase income first and foremost. Now notice this here on the wealthy side, this is my wealthy illustration, doesn't say increase paycheck. Most people that are wealthy have income. That income comes from many different sources, but typically it's not a paycheck. It's a profit, it's a cash flow asset, it's real estate, it's a business. So they focus on increasing income. This is what I focus on, increasing income. Why? So I can invest into more assets. You can only buy two things, a liability or an asset. Liability or an asset, okay? The wealthy focus on increasing their income so they can buy or invest into assets, which does what? In turn, it increases their net worth, and then they have more credit, they have more money, they come here, it increases their income automatically, they invest more into more assets, it increases their net worth. By investing into assets, it increases their income, and the cycle goes on and on and on. And so when the rich get richer, it's because they understand that when you do things in a certain way, you'll get a certain outcome. And the certain way of the poor looks like this: increasing paycheck, buying liability, decreasing net worth. The certain way of the wealthy, and the reason the rich get richer, is because they're not increasing income so they can buy more liabilities. They're increasing income to produce and create more cash flow, and they invest it into assets that in turn grows their net worth. Then as they're growing their net worth, then they might buy some liabilities to have some fun. Then they might buy the car or the bigger house or the amazing vacation to Hawaii, whatever it is. but they focus on increasing income so they can invest into more assets, create more cash flow, and increase their net worth. So, 3 signs to recap. Stop talking about people, start talking about ideas, okay? Sign number 1. Sign number 2 is that you talk about your past more than you talk about the present or the future. So stop living in the past, start living today, and start thinking about tomorrow. And last but not least is start focusing on increasing your net worth. Your net worth more than your paycheck. So that way, you can start living like the wealthy do, and you can increase the scoreboard, which is your net worth. All right? So until next time, take care. If you liked today's video, make sure you hit the bell, subscribe, get notifications, and we'll see you soon. Rise above.